So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Basel for another exciting qualifier of the FEI Dressage.
Basel, a city on the Rhine River in northwest Switzerland, its medieval old town centres around Marketplace, dominated by the 16th century red sandstone town hall, with 12th century Gothic cathedral looking out over the beautiful city. But here it welcomes the best riders in the world from show jumping and, of course, dressage to the Longines CHI Classics Basel. Hello and a very warm welcome to the FEI World Cup Dressage here in Basel, Switzerland. The FEI World Cup is the most prestigious individual competition in the international dressage calendar, a truly global series that started in 1985 and that covers 4 leagues across the world, including the Pacific, the North American, Central European and the Western European League. But we welcome you to this, the 6th leg here in Basel. The best 9 athlete and horse combinations from the Western European League will qualify for the final, which is being held in Fort Worth, Texas in the USA in early April this year. The riders will have 10 chances of qualifying in 8 countries over 6 months. A fabulous lineup of 14 horse and rider combinations coming forward for today's Grand Prix from 8 nations, and here you can see the standings so far. Up at the top is Raphael Netz from Germany. You'll be seeing him today. Larissa Paulis climbs up to 2nd after her win in Mecklen just before Christmas. Justin Verwimp and Becky Moody there in equal 4th, again after great results in Mecklen and London. Bettina Kendlbacher, will see her later from Austria, as well as Morgan Barbancon, them both sitting in 12th and 13th place. An amazing arena here that actually held the finals in April last year. 5 judges sitting around the arena. Beautiful installation on the roof there. In this wonderful hall, Jakobshalle here in Basel, as the ceiling goes up. And here are our ground jury. At E, Mariette Sanders van Ganswinkel from the Netherlands. At H, Hans Voser from Switzerland. At C, Kurt Christensen from Denmark. At M, Jean-Michel Roudier from France, and at B, Carlos Lopez from Portugal. Really beautiful, beautiful arena here. You can see not a lot of room around the outside, so the horses and riders will come into the arena before they start their tests. And here we can see the start list. Getting us underway, it will be Morgan Barbancon, Dileia Eggenberger from Switzerland in next, Dominique Fillion and the Boss in third, Bertrand Liegard or Paula Matute Guimon coming in ninth. Raphael, Netz, Charlotta, Rogerson, Jorinde, Verwimp, Isabell, Werth and Estelle Wettstein. They are our 14 combinations that will be joining us in this arena, all alongside their world ranking. But getting us underway, it is Morgan Barbancon and Sir Donald OLD. A really long-standing combination. They've been at international dressage for 15 years now. This is their third World Cup this season. They had a double win in Matute as part of the Central European League and finished 11th in the Grand Prix and 10th in the freestyle in London just before Christmas, finishing with 68.3 in the Grand Prix and 74.8 in the freestyle. Morgan Barbancon now and Sir Donald OLD. Could have just done with a little bit more balance coming into the halt, but a lovely move off. This horse has so much presence in this arena. Looking good there through the extension. Really covering the ground and staying in a nice frame. Yeah, well corrected there. You could just see Sir Donald just going a little bit onto the shoulder around the corner, but Morgan was able to rebalance, get the weight back onto the hind leg. Nice halt. Good immobility. Yeah, lovely there in the rein back. He wasn't leaning on the hand. And now again into the extension. Staying lovely and uphill. Lovely rhythm there. Yeah, again, well corrected from Morgan. And straight into a lovely relaxed walk. Nice marching, a really good stretch. Taking that stretch down and out. You can see he's clearly tracking up. Lovely and relaxed. His horse and rider have had so much experience at championship level. He does come into these arenas really relaxed and very secure in his surroundings. Keeping the rhythm through the collected walk. Good transition up into the passage. Oh, that's a shame. When you've got to go, you've got to go. But that was pretty unfortunate timing for a dropping there just as she starts asking for the piaffe. But well rescued by Morgan. She didn't get flustered. Just re-asked for the piaffe nicely. But unfortunately, that's going to be fairly expensive with the transition. into the twos. Such a big canter. You're really covering the ground through those changes. Could maybe just do with a little more balance at times through those. Lovely. She really goes for her extensions, and Gus, as he's affectionately known, can really cover the ground and stay nice and uphill through those lovely lines. Could just have asked for a little bit more back after the extension in the canter. You know, this half pass zigzag is meant to be in collected canter. It was quite forward going into it, and then that just affects the overall balance. Now getting him onto the hind leg before she goes into these one-time changes. Yeah, nicely done. There looks like there was one at the very beginning where he was together behind. Interestingly, the E&B judges have picked up on that, but the ones on the short side haven't. Lovely there. That's a real highlight for this combination. The canter pirouettes. Just needs to stay in the self-carriage. Lovely. You can see he's really waiting for her through those canter pirouettes. Really able to sit and keep the lovely rhythm. Nice. This horse 20 years old. You certainly wouldn't think it, would you? And that's real testament to Morgan and her management. She adores this horse. They've been through so much together, and it's great to see them back out here as part of the World Cup Dressage Series. A lovely test from this combination. Already had a double win as part of the Central European League. And good results in London just before Christmas. A really, really nice, secure Grand Prix from them today. Just that little blip in the second Piaf where he stopped going in because of a dropping. But really super consistent. Some of the best canter pirouettes I've seen from this combination. And as I said, you would not believe that this horse is 20, let's say 20 years young. Stayed in a really nice frame throughout. Could maybe have been stiller in the contact at times, but was really listening to Morgan. Super on the aids through the changes. As I said, really great through the canter pirouettes today. You see how much ground he covers in those huge changes.
This demolition score 69.2239. Non-authentic. Komma 239% im Total des Rennen.
And the score is in 69.239%, our first score, and very 69%. So our second combination making their way into the arena now. Jemma, Heran and Total Recall from Australia. She's based in Germany. Headed out to Wellington though over the period of the winter of 2025. The last time out was in November though, in Kronberg for the 3-star there. Finished 20th in the Grand Prix and 10th in the freestyle. Grand Prix gave her 66.304. They had a win early last year in Wellington in the Grand Prix Special with 69.021%. Oh, a little spook there. But it is Jemma, Heran and Total Recall from Australia. Handled that centre line really well. She kept her cool, gave the horse a bit of reassurance, and has come back from it nicely. It is quite a lot down this end of the arena with those sponsors boards and the flower wall. I know it's caused some problems in the past with some horses. Showing good bend there. Just needs to stay a little bit more steady to the contact, but really good crossing, keeping lovely energy through that. A little bit early, but a gorgeous square halt. Nice in the rein back, a little bit fiddly in the mouth, could be stiller to the contact again there. Yeah, well ridden again, just rebalancing halfway through there. So she was ready for this passage. Great here in the rhythm. Wonderful lift. It's getting a little bit wide behind there in the piaffe. But really good, smooth transitions. Oh, this horse has a very nice walk. Really good over track. Really nicely walking over his back. Super stretch. Very nice indeed. With horses with a big walk, they just need to be sure that they keep that rhythm through the collected walk. Yeah, a little bit on the edge there. Wasn't really true collected walk, I would say. She rode it very tactfully. Now she needs to keep the hind leg. Yeah. Still a little bit wide, but much better this time. Nice. Good transition up to the canter. This horse 14 years old, Jemma just 29. This horse by Totalas. Lovely big changes. Staying nice and uphill. Beautifully on the aids. Really, really well ridden. Yeah, it started off nice through the extension, but it slightly faded after X. She really needs to keep that going right to the end before she asks for the change. Yeah, so nice through the zigzag. Could just be a little bit more through over the back to allow a bit more self-carriage. Yeah, and good through the ones as well. Again, could just have been a little bit softer over the back, but all really good clean changes nicely on the aids. Yeah, you can see there, really nice correction as she's coming into the canter pirouette. She just got him a little bit softer, a little bit more through. A very neat canter pirouette. Oh dear. That's a real shame. That's going to really affect her marks, unfortunately. Almost rode the canter pirouettes a little bit too much back. I think she could have done with just keeping them a little bit more forward, maybe riding them a little bit larger. Lovely hearing the rhythm again in the passage. This horse has such great energy in the PF passage. Again, just a little bit wide behind there. You can see him swaying slightly from left to right. Much better balance here in the passage. And there we have it for Jemma Heran from Australia. A really, really lovely combination. Based here in Europe, in Germany. But a really wonderful combination that have had some good success over the last few months. Some mistakes, unfortunately, today. Didn't get off to the best foot with the first centre line, but she really made up for it. And it was nice to see the horse develop as the test went on. It's a big atmosphere here in Basel. Some lovely work in the passage. Really good through the lines of changes today. Just got a little bit wide in the Piaf, which lost them some marks. And of course, that little blip in between the two canter pirouettes was very, very costly for them today. But the horse has great natural energy. You can see he really wants to go forward. 64.152%, and of course into second place. Scores ranging from 61.739 up to 65.326%.
Von Germany and Puerto Rico von Australia. Drittes Fach für Spanien angestartet. FEI Dressage de Cap Prix präsentiert von Grand et Barbancon ist actionnée de la Grange von Fillion Delphine und Paula Matute Guimon.
So next up for Spain, it is Paula Matute Guimon and Delagron. Their last time out was in August, where they competed in the Manon Chantre CGI 3-star. Finished 18th with 66.109% in the Grand Prix and 11th in the freestyle with 67.96. Another combination that spent February-March out in Wellington. Had some good results out there, finishing 11th in the Grand Prix with 66.2 and 11th again in the freestyle with 70.7. This horse, an 18-year-old stallion. Would have been nice to have seen just a little bit more over track there in the extension. Nice placement in the half pass. Very clear to the bend. Just looks like he's holding himself slightly over the back there. Lovely halt. Really nice and accurate on the marker as well. Again, just a little look in that corner. He's certainly very aware of his surroundings, but seems to be keeping it together, and Paula doing a good job of really instilling that confidence in him. Yeah, could just have been a little bit more on the spot through the PF. Again, just holding himself slightly there in the extended walk, not really taking that stretch down, and you can see Paula offering the rein to him, but he's just holding himself. Keeping a clear rhythm in the walk. Again, travelling a little bit at the beginning, better in the second half this time. Now into these two-time changes. All very nicely on the aids. The horse really listening, and you can see that they've got a really good connection between the two, because the horse does seem to be taking on his surroundings, but it's not letting him affect his actual test. He's just a little bit tighter than maybe you'd like a little bit more relaxation over the back, but generally he's really listening to his rider, really answering all of the questions. Again, there you could just see a little bit more bend through the body, a little bit more balance. And again, all those ones. Oh, just a little mistake at the end. That was a real shame. I think that was commentator's curse. But, you know, all of the changes really nicely on the aids. Yeah, well managed there. You could see that he was just anticipating slightly coming into the Canter-Meyer. Better preparation this time. Keep that separation. Yeah, needs to just keep that separation behind in the canter pirouettes. you can definitely tell that this horse knows this test very, very well. Great energy here again in the passage down the centre line. You can see how attentive the horse is, his ears always pricked. Really listening to Paula. Again, quite a bit of travelling there, but maintained the rhythm, nice transitions. And there we have it for Paula, Matute, Guimon and Delagrong. Big pats and cuddles for Delagrong. A nice test from Paula, being watched by her father, three-time Olympian Juan Matute. So now we can watch back on the highlights. As I said, I'd just like to have seen the horse a little bit more relaxed, a bit more over the back, but really good through the passage today. A real highlight for this combination. Just a little mistake at the end of the ones, but the two-time changes were nice. Just loved how attentive this horse was. He was really listening to his rider. Just at the end of the test, got a little bit carried away in the canter pirouettes and slightly took over. And the score is in at 64.391%. Scores ranging from 62.5 up to 66.304.
Ein Total von 64,391 mit 64,391%. For Barbancon Guimon, Musik regarding unexpected the judging rate 64,96,9%, 64,392 Platz 1, 69,239%.
Don't forget, if you are watching along from home, you can download the Spectator Judging app and mark the tests as they're going along and see how close you are to our panel of judges. You can download that on the App Store or on the Play Store. And that can also be done through the Freestyle tomorrow. Moving on now to our first combination for Switzerland. It is Estelle, Wettstein and Boy. This combination competed at the European Championships in 2021 and in 2023 in Rosenbeck. Finished 48th in the Grand Prix. Recently, though, they have had some good results in Düsseldorf, Zurich. They finished 8th in the Grand Prix there with 68.217, and in the freestyle they finished 8th again with 71.34%. This is their first World Cup qualifier. Also competed in Liegard in May last year. Scored 67.9 in the Grand Prix there for 8th and 12th in the freestyle for 69%. What a super halt to get us underway with this test. Really nice move off. A very, very big moving, expressive horse. Really covering the ground there in the extension. Hard to see from this angle what the hind legs are doing. Really nice preparation there, good to the bend, lovely crossing. Clear change of bend. Just needs to be sure that a head tilt doesn't creep in there. Just looked a little bit more fluent to the right. Ah, I thought he was going to square up behind then. Yeah, so some fairly nice steps in the rein back. Just got a little bit rushed and he dropped the pole slightly. Again, very, very expressive in the extension. Was just a little bit uneven behind in the rhythm. Nice there in the passage. Nicely on the spot, keeping the rhythm, good transitions. Just generally, I'd like to see the horse just take a bit of a breath, and hopefully that will come from this walk now. You find sometimes the walk can really, really help if the horse is feeling a little bit apprehensive, but it could also go the other way. Yeah, the horse not really taking that breath here in the walk. Just still holding himself, as you can see there, over the back. Estelle doing a good job of just sitting quietly. It's just in this kind of situation just all about trying to give the horse nice relaxed aids, give them that reassurance that they need. Good. Just again there, just getting a little bit tight. You can see that he's definitely a very, very talented horse. Just today, some of the tension interrupting the rhythm slightly. So into the twos now. Lots of ground cover there. Nicely done. Staying in a nice uphill open frame. Looked pretty straight from this angle as well. And now into the extension, yeah. Plenty of power. And she was able to maintain that right to the end of the diagonal before she collected and then asked for the change. Nicely in balance. Ooh. Again, so this zigzag is meant to be in collected canter. Yeah, it's slightly better there towards the end. Just, I would say, needed to be a little bit more balanced, a little bit more in collected canter. Good there into the ones. Really, really smart. Lovely energy. Nice and straight. So now come back, rebalance, get ready for the canter pirouette. Nice preparation. Yeah. Kept the jump a little bit more this time. She rode it, I would say the second one slightly bigger, and then she was able to keep that jump more behind. That's the thing in this test, it comes so thick and fast, and you have to, as a rider, make so many decisions in these 8.5, 9 minutes that the Grand Prix test is going on. It is all of those split decisions in that you have to think of in a matter of, well, not even seconds, because the movement's gone then. You really, really have to be so on it and really in tune with your horse. Lovely lift through the passage. And there we have it for Estelle Wettstein from Switzerland. And the lovely quarter boy. A very, very talented horse indeed. Just today could have done with a bit more relaxation in the arena to really, really get the best out of him. Some lovely moments though, really good through both lines of tempi changes. Horse really has great ground cover. Just at times today, the tension just affecting the rhythm in some of the trot work. And of course, today, unfortunately, they had quite a bit of tension in the walk, which cost them a lot of marks today. But some lovely work in the passage, a lovely energetic horse. There you can see the huge extensions. You can really push and come beautifully uphill. Very, very well ridden test from Estelle. She really kept nice and calm, give the horse as much confidence as possible. And hopefully, having been in the arena today for the Grand Prix, tomorrow he'll come in with a bit more confidence tomorrow for the freestyle. So now moving on to our combination from France. It is Bertrand Liegard, and he is riding Ginger. This is a 15-year-old KWPM mare by Tango. And scores are in for Estelle. 66.326 and into second place. Bertrand competed at the Close Europeans last year. Finished 45th individually. That was his last time out. And they scored 66.227. Also competed last year at the 4-star in Aachen, finishing 20th in the Grand Prix with 66.8 and 9th in the freestyle with 72.8. Some nice steps in the extension. Just needs to be sure that it wasn't a little bit quick. Nice crossing there. Just like to see a little bit more self-carriage and bend. But she has lovely cadence. Some nice accurate halts today. Again, really covering the ground. Just needs to be sure it's not a little bit quick. Lovely lift in the passage, or a little bit, yeah, just a little bit abrupt into the piaffe. Better there. We've just lost a few marks there for the transitions. It's just not quite as fluent as some of the others, but good here in the walk. She's taking a nice stretch down. Could just be a little bit more consistent in the stretch, but really willing and able to take that stretch down and out. Oh, that's a shame. Meyer was just thinking canter there into the transition. Very well corrected. Yeah, just a few problems again there in the rhythm. But lovely transition up to the canter. And into the twos now. Lovely. Really nicely on the eight, staying nice and straight. Mare stays in a lovely frame. Not the most uphill extended canter, but he has managed to show a difference. Again here the same as in the trot half pass. Just like to see a little bit more better there. The first half pass just didn't quite have enough bend. Ooh. Yeah, a couple of changes there together behind. So really needs to get her thinking more on the hind leg. Yeah, nice preparation as you come into the canter pirouette. Yeah, kept the jump pretty well behind. They of course could be a little bit smaller, but I think then he really would risk not keeping the canter. So a very good decision from Bertrand. Keep a little bit back. Just needs to keep a little bit more in those extensions. It just gets a little bit quick, but you can see the potential that she's got in those. Lovely spring there in the passage. She's got a really lovely active hind leg. Better transition this time. Yeah, much better. Much more fluent. Save the best till last. It's lovely to have seen this combination really rise in confidence as this test has gone on. Bertrand, Liegard and Ginger for France completing their test. Their combination best 67.348%. They're going to be fairly close to that today. A really lovely, honest mare. Some nice work today in the canter, especially. Super down that final centre line as well. Really, really good transitions. As I said, really great to see them develop from the first Piaf that felt a bit stop-start. And here's the score already, 66.522%, and into second place. Very consistent from our judges, ranging from 65.2 up to 67.2.
Und bei B66,522, 66,522 at B.
Of course, there's a real talent for the Piaf Dressage. Just could have sat a little bit more in those. A very, very lovely, obedient horse. Just a couple of mistakes today in the one-time changes where she was slightly together behind. But just generally, you can see her a little bit more engaged to be able to stay a bit more uphill.
FEI Dressage repräsentiert vom Grand Hôtel des Trois kommt aus Österreich. Der einzigjährige österreichische Wallach namens
Moving on now to our combination for Austria. It is Bettina, Kendlbacher and Broadmoor's Dan Alfredo. There's horse 13 years old. Idestano. They competed at the European Championships in Closé in August last year, finishing 36th individually. They've competed in a few World Cups as part of the Central European League, but also competed at the Stuttgart Western European League. That was back in November, finishing 15th in the Grand Prix with 66.7 and 14th in the freestyle with 72.8. They scored 68.4 at the European Championships last year. Lovely light-footed horse. Good there through the bend. Really nice positioning in the half pass. Super crossing. You can see the reach that he's got through those half passes. Oh, that's a shame. Just didn't quite get the balance into that halt, but good steps in the rein back. Better extension this time. The first one was a little bit too hurried. Looked a little bit more with her this time, and great lift here through the passage. Really nice in the rhythm. Fluent transition. Nicely on the spot in the Piaf. Just needed a little bit more balance on the transition out. Nicely relaxed there into the walk. Taking a good stretch down and out. Could just have been a little bit clearer in the rhythm in the collected walk. Yeah, she did really well there to keep the Piaffe. It just looked a little bit earthbound this time. But really good riding from Bettina. Lovely and straight on that short side, and that just sets you up well for what's coming next. And that's the thing in this Grand Prix, you really have to use the short sides and the corners to really balance and prepare for the next movement, and she did a good job there of doing that into the 2-time changes. They were nice and uphill. Nice big changes. So now coming back, collect around the corner, ready for the zigzag. Lovely to the bend. Yeah, nicely done. This couple have such great partnership. You can see he's really listening. Just a little bit more throughness needed towards the end of the 1-times there. It's got a little bit tight in the second half. Good into the canter pirouette. Oh, that was a shame. Yeah, better second half. Just needed to keep that jump at the beginning. The preparation was really good. Yeah, good, good. Lovely. She really needs to keep the balance the whole way through those canter pirouettes. But the horse has a real talent for those. Not too quick. And now the final centre line. Really lovely there. This horse has such a talent for the passage. Lovely and light-footed, really elastic. Yeah, much better. And there we have it for Bettina, Kendlbacher and Broadmoor's Don Alfredo AWO. A very, very nice test indeed, and the smile says it all. It's looking like it could be a personal best for Bettina today, and she might be our first combination into the 70s. It started off beautifully with these gorgeous half passes. This horse is so talented. Really, really lovely in the passage. Great through the changes. Just looks like such a little bouncy ball of energy, and he just looks like such a fun little horse to ride. Just at times needed a little more balance, but a really lovely combination to watch. It is a personal best. Carlos Lopez there, our judge from Portugal.
Ein letztes Fahrt in diesem ersten Teil des FEI Dressage Weltcup präsentiert von Matute.
see all of our scores electronic now. So the writers are typing into laptops or tablets. So that's why we can get our scores so quickly. And it's also why you can play along at home by downloading the Spectator Judging app. See how close you are to our expert panel of judges. So now moving on to our second combination from Spain. There's Lucia Gallardo and Hip by Johnson. Funnily enough, this horse is by Glocks Johnson, a KWPN 15-year-old. Lucia competed back in 2005 in the junior team. Recently competed at London XL. Finished 8th in the Grand Prix with a score of 69.043 and 14th in the freestyle with 70.9. Also competed in Le Mans back in October, finishing 9th in the Grand Prix there with 66 and 3rd in the special with 68. Really big moving horse. Very, very different to our last combination that we saw. He was like a little pocket rocket, a very small, compact horse. This horse much bigger, much more to keep connected. But Lucia doing a nice job so far. Really good through the bend there in the half pass. Nice cadence. Just needs to be sure that she doesn't get a little bit quick in the tempo. Yeah. Just needed some more balance coming into that halt, because you could see he was really ready to offer the square halt, but it was quite abrupt coming into it. Keep it coming. Yeah, that was a shame. Just lost the energy coming into the Piaffe. Some nice work in the passage. Quite busy here in the mouth though. You can see he has a lovely lift in the passage, but as soon as she asked for the Piaffe today in that first one, he just came to a bit of a halt. Well ridden through the extended walk. Just keeping his concentration. Nice over track, really nice and active through the walk. Keeping the energy there. Just needed to keep that concentration through the whole diagonal. Better this time. Still could have a little bit more lift, a bit more energy in the Piaffe, but there was no sign of a halt this time. Nice. Nicely on the aids. Could just be a little bit more supple over the back through those changes. And to a stiller mouth, he's still a little bit open. Oh, she's going for it though there in the extension. Good sideways. Again, just needs to remember that this is collected canter. Yeah, nice. Nice energy. Good sideways. Again, could just be a little stiller to the contact. Yeah, well done. Really well centered through the canter pirouette. Keep, yeah. Just lost a little bit of the jump. It was a little bit spinning at the beginning of that the second canter pirouette, and she just needed to bring him back a little bit more onto the hind leg before she came round and asked for the canter pirouette. Keep him in front. Keep him in front of your leg. Yeah, come on, good. Good, he was slightly anticipating the whole way down that centre line, and I was a little bit worried that he was going to come to a halt at X, but she did a good job there of keeping him in front of her as much as she could. And that is it for Lucia Gallardo, and hit by Johnson for Spain. Our second combination for Spain. We saw Paula Matute Guimon earlier. And a nice job. This horse has such a lovely energy about him. Today could have just been a little stiller to the contact. Really lovely through those chopped half passes at the beginning. You can see the reach that he has in the trot work. As I said, today it was just the contacts that held them back, but some really lovely work in the passage. The score is 66.587% and into third place. Our judge from H, and we are at the halfway stage. Out in front it is Bettina, Kendlbacher and Baltimore's Don Alfredo, who is out in the lead with 70.109. Morgan Barbancon in second, Sir Donovan the second with 69.239, and Lucia Gallardo into third there by hit by Johnson for Spain with 66.587. Join us back in, well, we'll be joined by Dileia, Eggenberger and Fair Trade at 20 past 11. 20 past 10 if you're watching from the UK. So grab a cup of tea and join us back in just a few moments' time for the second half of this leg 6 here in Basel for the FEI Dressage Western European League. welcome back. Here you can see the remaining starters for the second half of this leg 6 here in Basel. Dileia, Eggenberger and Fairtrade getting us underway. Jorinde, Verwimp, Svenja, Kamper-Meyer, Charlotta, Rogerson, Dominique, Fillion, Isabell, Werth, and then finally Raphael, Netz last into the arena. Some fantastic combinations there, including Isabell and Wendy, who are of course medalists from Paris and from the recent European Championships. So lots to look forward to in the second half here in Basel. Next combination due to come down the centre line in just 1 minute's time. At the moment it is Bettina, Kendlbacher and Boardmore's Don Alfredo AWO who's out in the lead with 70.109%. But it is Switzerland's Dileia, Eggenberger and Fairtrade now into the arena. Fairtrade, a 16-year-old Westphalian gelding by feeder step out of Santino 86. They competed at the 2023 Rosenbeck European Championships, finishing 65th. Dileia also competed her other ride, Santa Maria, at the recent European Championships in Crozet. This combination competed in Lyon and in Stuttgart, though, for the Western European League so far this year. In Lyon, they finished 13th of the Grand Prix with 68.239, and in Stuttgart, it was 13th with 67.109. It jumped up to 7th, though, in Lyon in the freestyle with 75.1, and 9th in Stuttgart with 75.4. A nice start, a good centre line for Dileia and Fairtrade. Good positioning there in the half pass, clear to the bend. Just could be a little stiller to the contact there and a bit more over the back. Really impressed with the halts at sea today. I've said quite a lot in the past actually about riders not riding up to the marker and not really getting the square halts, but today has been really, really good, really consistently the riders doing well. And you know, there's so much in these tests. The riders really need and want to get as many marks as they can, and simple things like halting correctly and accurately at the marker can really, really make or break that movement and make a difference ultimately between a gold medal and maybe no medal at all. Taking a good stretch there in the extended walk. A clear over track. Nice pick up. Good there in the collected walk. Keeping good in the rhythm. nice lightness. Yeah, good. Nicely on the spot. Could just generally be a little bit more over the back. You can see the horse just swishing his tail quite a bit. Just like to see a little bit more relaxation for the bigger marks, but well handled there in the corner. Good, nicely on the aids. Slightly open mouth there, could just be stiller to the contact, but really listening to Dileia through that line of twos. Yeah, plenty of power. She really went through it through that line. Now bring him back. Yeah, good sideways again, just fiddling a bit with the contact. He's just holding himself slightly, I would say. Oh, that's a shame. Mistake and not quite enough changes. She only did 13 and it's 15 that are needed. Nice preparation for the canter pirouette. Yeah, well ridden there, kept the jump. Really lovely control through the first. Can she keep that? Yeah. A little bit bigger this time, but very nice control through both of the canter pirouettes. So final centre line now. Keeping that energy right the way through to this final line. Plenty of spring there in the passage, sorry. Again, just like to see a slightly stiller mouth. Good transition into the piaffe. There we have it for Dileia, Eggenberger and Fair Trade for Switzerland. A lovely combination. Today some really good work through the canter. Just such a shame she missed those two in the one-time changes. Only rode 13. So that was fairly expensive with 5s and 4s from our judges. She did have a mistake in there as well, but some really nice work, clear through the bend. Clearly a very talented horse in the piaffe passage. Today it was just the contact that let them down a little bit. The horse had quite an open mouth, but lots of talent there, lots of potential. Could just have been a little bit more relaxed over the top line today. 67.565% and into third for Dileia, Eggenberger and Fair Trade for Switzerland. Marks ranging from 66.8 up to 69.2. moving on to a rider for Belgium. It is Jorinde Verwimp and Jemma. Again, another long-standing combination. This horse, 14 years old, an Oldenburg gelding by Jemma out of the Kamper-Meyer. Comes from a very horsey family. Her father, Wim Verwimp, was a successful international dressage rider, and Jorinde has always had the same ambition. She competed this horse at the 2023 World Cup finals out in Omaha. Competed just before Christmas at the London XL World Cup qualifier, finishing 11th in the Grand Prix with 68.3 and 9th in the freestyle with 75.095. Lost a little bit of the rhythm there through the extended trot. Yeah, the rhythm varying slightly behind through the half passes as well. I jinxed it earlier, didn't I, by saying that they've been riding accurately to see, but it was a good halt. Yeah, the bell's just gone. Unfortunately, obviously, the welfare of the horse has to be top priority, and the horse just not looking 100% today. So the bell has been rung, and that is it for Jorinde Verwimp and Jemma for today. Like I said, we take the welfare of the horses very seriously. So thank you, Jorinde. We will have a little break now until the next combination comes in, and that will be Dr. Svenja Kamper-Meyer for Germany at 10:40 or 11:40 if you're watching from Europe. Some of our youngest dressage fans there. They're certainly having a good time. So the next combination coming in due to the elimination of Jorinde Verwimp at 10:40 if you're watching from the UK, 11:40 if you're in Europe. There you can see the standings so far. Alfredo out in the lead at the moment with 70.109. Morgan Barbancon in second for France with 69.239. Third with 67.565. Next riders can choose. So the next one due in at 11:40, 10:40 if you're watching from the UK.
Die Startzeit für das nächste Kampf ist in 45 Rechtskreide Futi.
So as you can see, our next combination coming into the arena now, right on her time. It is Dr. Svenja Kamper-Meyer and Anna Mayara, MFRH. A combination from Germany. This is a 13-year-old Hanoverian mare by Ampere out of Davignon 3. They competed at the Stuttgart World Cup qualifier, finishing 6th in the Grand Prix with 69.891 and 10th in the freestyle with 75.330. So this is their second World Cup qualifier. They did compete in Neumünster as part of last year's Western European League, finishing 7th with 71% in the Grand Prix there. Also had great results in July last year at Falsterborough for the CDIO 4-star. The Nations Cup, they won the Grand Prix with 69.6%. So Dr. Svenja Kamper-Meyer and Amanyala a lovely light-footed, elegant horse. Overtracking beautifully there in the extension. Just lacking a bit of bend there through the half pass. Yeah, I'd like to see much more bend through both half passes. For staying nice and uphill. Ah, that was a shame because she actually rode that downward transition really nicely and lovely through the rein back, but just didn't quite get that square halt. Nice transition. Yeah. So the PF was kind of in two halves there. The first half was quite travelling, and then it was almost like she gave a bit more of a half halt, and she was able to bring the mare a little bit more on the spot. Good stretch through the walk. Just a little bit limited in the overtrack and in the shoulder freedom. Good pick up there though. Nice into the collected walk. Maintaining the walk rhythm throughout. Yeah, nice through the Piaf Passage. Generally could just have a little bit more suspension for the bigger marks, but everything looking nice and fluent, sitting on 7s and 7.5s mostly from our judges. Into the 2-time changes. Again, nicely on the aids, could just be a little bit more over the back. Lovely jump to the canter. Nice. Yeah, well ridden. Really kept the extended canter all the way across the diagonal, and then you could clearly see her bringing the mare back and really showing that collected canter. A few times today we've seen the canter kind of carrying on and losing the balance around the corner into the canter zigzag, but that was really nicely ridden, very well prepared for, and in good balance. Ah, oh, that was a shame. Nicely recovered though. Well ridden. It was really nice before the mistake, and again, just a little bit holding. Nice preparation. Keep the jump. Good. Yeah, it was nice. The pirouettes are good. I think for the 8s and 8.5s, just needed to take a little bit more weight and have a little bit more activity through the canter pirouette. But very well ridden. This is a really nice test. Keeping that energy right to the end. Lovely lift. Nicely on the spot. Yeah. And again, each time the Piaffe passage has got better, the transitions have got smoother, and that's going to stand them in really good stead for the freestyle tomorrow. A very nice job indeed from Svenja Kamper-Meyer and Amanyara M. Our first combination for Germany. It's looking like we're going to have our second score over 70%. Such a shame about those one-time changes, because the rest of the test was beautifully fluent. For me, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more bend through the half passes there in the trot, but this mare is super nice. Everything was very elegant, very fluent, very harmonious. Each Piaffe got better as the test went on, which is really lovely to see. The mare looked really happy and comfortable. Could just have at times been a little bit more over the back, but a very, very well ridden test. Lovely balance throughout. And it is a 70.304% and into the lead for Svenja Kamper-Meyer. Very consistent from 68.37 up to 71.63%. Next up, another combination for Switzerland. This time it is Charlotta Rogerson and Bornher Dileia. This is a 14-year-old KWPN gelding by Bordeaux out of a Juninski mare. They competed at the Crozet Europeans last year, finishing 33rd. This is their first World Cup this season. Competed here last year, finishing 9th in the Grand Prix. Did compete in Stuttgart in November, but in the 4-star rather than the World Cup. Scored 70.261% in the Grand Prix for 4th and won the special with 72.447. At the European, scored 68.68% in the Grand Prix for 33rd place. Also had really good results in the 4-star in Dusseldorf, Zurich with 70.304 in the Grand Prix for second place. A really good start for Charlotta. Sparkling her way into this arena. Nice there through the extension. A lovely elastic light-footed horse. Yeah, nice to the bend there through the half pass. Super crossing. Great reach there. Nice and supple through the change of bend. Could just be a little bit stiller in the mouth. Nice immobility, just leaning slightly on the contact there in the rein back. Super. Just be careful it doesn't get a little quick. Nice transition. This horse has such great energy. Keep the energy, keep the rhythm. Just lost a little bit of rhythm in the piaffe. Just needed to sit a little bit more. Lovely here in the walk. Really, really super active. Lovely over track, really nice freedom. A good stretch. Keeping the activity. Now just needs to watch the rhythm here in this. A little bit more earthbound this time. Yeah, good though, through the passage. Lovely. Very nice and secure through the two-time changes there. Could have been a little bit more uphill if we're being picky, but really lovely. And on the aids, all the changes were the same. She rode them really nicely placed on the diagonal. Well balanced through the corner. Keep that balance. Have a little bit more self-carriage, a bit more bend through the zigzag there for the bigger marks, but still sevens, a couple of 7.5s. Nice. Yeah, really well ridden. Lovely one times. Yeah, the 8s are coming through now. Good preparation. Really nice. again, lovely through the pirouette. Could maybe, if we're being really fussy, be a little bit more uphill. Keep the jump. Yeah. Just lost a little bit of the jump and separation in that pirouette to the right. Pirouette to the left, though. Very, very nice indeed. So now she needs to really think about keeping the rhythm here in the Piaffe Passage. Keeping that lovely lightness through into the Piaffe. Keeping the activity coming. A little bit of swaying there. Well ridden though. And there we have it for Charlotta Rogerson and Bohut Levy. She seems very, very happy with that indeed. It's looking like it could be a personal best for this combination. Their best at the moment, 71.522. I think it's going to be quite a bit over that actually today. Just one combination so far. Broken into, oh sorry, two now actually, broken into the 70%. A really wonderful combination, so much harmony between the two. This horse, so elegant, so light-footed, a really lovely frame throughout, lovely teamwork. And it's a personal best of 72.63% and into the lead for Charlotta Rogerson. Some great scores there, very consistent from our judges, 72s and 73%. Super fluent test, very, very nice. Next up, we have a combination for the Netherlands. It is Dominique, Fillion and the Boss. The Boss is 14 years old, a gelding by Boston. Dominique came up through the junior and young riders. Last time out they competed in Salzburg CDI 5-star, where she finished 6th in the Grand Prix with 69.6 and 7th in the freestyle with 74.4. Also has another horse at this level. Competed at the Stuttgart World Cup qualifier, finishing 17th with 65.304. Unfortunately didn't quite make it through to the freestyle with that. Nice start. Really good in the frame there through the extended trot. Good crossing. Just a little bit of a head tilt through the half pass there to the right. Nice halt. Could just have maintained the halt for a couple of seconds longer. It was quite quick. Nice, really good transitions. Again, a horse with lovely lightness there to the passage. Yeah, good in the piaffe. Could have had a little bit more energy, but generally nice. The transitions were good, they were clear. A nice relaxation here in the walk, taking a good stretch. Nice over track and a good pick up there into the collected walk, keeping a good walk rhythm. Nice, much better activity this time. Keep the rhythm. Yeah, just lost a little bit of balance for one step in that transition back into the passage. This horse super keen, really willing to go forward, which is lovely. Could just have been slightly straighter through those 2 time changes. You can see a little bit of swinging, but really lovely and uphill, staying good in the frame. And again there in the extended canter, could just have maintained the extended canter right the way through the diagonal. Just came back at her a little bit before the change. Yeah, she's riding a really lovely test here. Yeah, this is what I mean about really knowing your horse, and you can really see that although compared to some of the other combinations, this combination haven't been together quite so long, but she really knows him and she knows how to get the best out of him. Lovely harmony between the two of them. A little bit of tension in the one-time changes there, but again, she gave him the best possible opportunity and really kept soft through her body. Lovely. Really nice bend through the body and the canter pirouette. Keeping the jump in the canter. Yeah. Got a little bit big in the last couple of steps, but really well ridden. Lost a little bit of fluency in that downward transition, but well rebalanced. Again, that lovely spring in the passage. And keeping him soft. He said, "Halt him up." Not quite, but really well ridden. No, he really did think halt, and she did a great job of just picking back up with the Piaffe. Well ridden by Dominique, Fillion and the boss. A very, very nice test indeed. Their combination best, 70.5%. They're going to be close to that today. That is for sure. Now we can see their highlights. So much to enjoy from this test. As I said, wonderful harmony between the two of them. A really, really lovely test to watch. And the score is in 70% and into fourth for Dominique Fillion and the boss. Scores very consistent from 69 up to 70%. Just 2 left to go. And next up it is Isabell Werth. She needs a little introduction. She has been the World Cup title holder 5 times and has a whopping 38 gold medals from 7 Olympics, 7 World Championships and 16 European Championships under her belt. She is riding Wendy de Fontaine. Wendy is a 12-year-old mare, Vices 1, and soprano. Hamlin Winter-Shaw's there, the owner and long-term supporter of Isabell. Their personal best for the Grand Prix, 85.6%. This combination, of course, competed at the recent European Championships. They finished second in the Grand Prix and picked up 2 individual bronze medals. The Grand Prix saw them second with 79.224. Since then they went on to Frankfurt for the 5-star, finished second there with 81.4 in the Grand Prix to finish second, and third in the freestyle with 87.165%. Such a super talented mare. This combination, of course, also at the Paris Olympics, picking up team gold and an individual silver in the freestyle. And finished second here last year in the World Cup finals. Huge crossing and reach in the half pass. Just sometimes mare having a little play with the contact. A little bit quick there in the rein back, but a lovely move off back into the trot. Super rhythm in the passage. Really lovely energy, lovely lift. Our first 10 for the transitions, 4 9s for the Piaffe. Again, a nice big walk, plenty of ground cover, good relaxation there, taking a nice stretch. Passage really is like clockwork. So fluent and smooth in the transition. Little pat there from Isabell. Again, 9s and a few 10s for the piaffe and transitions. Just makes everything look so easy. Oh, a little bit tense there through those 2-time changes. Well managed from Isabell. Yeah, and you know, as I've said, we've scored 10s in this test for the transitions, but now we can see 4s because of the mistakes there in the 2-time changes. Really great to see the judges using all of their marks. She's just getting a little bit hot here in the canter, isn't she? Isabell really having to use her experience, having ridden all of those horses to such a high level. She really has a lot of tools in her toolbox. Yeah, again, mistakes there and the 1-time changes, and I think she was probably expecting that, and well recovered. Again, 4s from our judges. Keep the jump. And now for the final centre line. Can she claw back some of the marks that she's lost in the canter? Again, more 10s coming through. 110 for the piaffe, 3 9s and a 9.5, 10s as well for the transitions. And there we have it, a lovely halt to finish for Isabell Werth and Wendy Defontaine. Some pats there for Wendy. I think Isabell had her work cut out there, especially in the canter work. Really super through the trot today. But Wendy just got a little bit hot through some of that canter work, and you know, we could see the mistakes coming through, especially in those lines of changes. But Isabell really showing her expertise. And of course, the mark at the end, the harmony collective mark, will of course be affected because of those mistakes. But this mare, so beautifully light, has such a talent in the Piaffe Dressage. It was just here through these changes that we saw those big mistakes. But I don't think that's going to hold her back from the top spot. It is a 78.674% and into the lead, and 80% there from our judge at sea, a few in 77%. So Isabell Werth out in the lead at the moment with one left to go. Raphael, Netz and DSP Dudon. This was 13 years old. The gelding by Dante Valtino out of Sir Donahall mare. Competed at the 2024 World Cup finals with Great Escape Camelot finishing 5th there. The last time out with this horse though was in Lyon for the World Cup qualifier, where they finished 7th in the Grand Prix with 71.522% and 13th in the music with 70.7. Raphael, of course, head of the standings at the moment. He's competed in Stuttgart with Great Escape Camelot, Lyon with this horse, and Herning again with Camelot, as well as competing in one of the Central European League's competitions back in September. This, of course, leg 6, so 4 left to go after this. And no points picked up from the Grand Prix. It is just the freestyle, which we'll get to watch tomorrow. A lovely start. Could just have opened the frame a little more through the extension, but really lovely lengthening of the stride. Really great push from the hind leg as well. Good crossing. Could maybe just have a little bit more suppleness to the bend there through the half pass to the right. Again, another lovely light-footed horse. Ooh, a little early. Lovely steps back though. Yes, it was nicely on the spot there through the Piaffe. We just needed to sit a little bit more. And sometimes in the Piaffe there, it just got a little bit high behind and it wasn't always equal. But really smooth transitions. Good stretch here in the walk. Keep the rhythm. Yeah, a little bit better this time. Lovely big ground covering changes, nicely on the aids. Just generally, this horse could be a little bit more through, a little bit more over the back, but he certainly has a lot of talent. As I said at the beginning of the class, it's a really big atmosphere in this arena. There's a lot to see for the horses, and if they haven't quite had that exposure to these big environments in the past, that can affect them. And of course, hopefully what we would like to see, and I'm sure this will be the case with this combination, is the rider giving the horse confidence so that tomorrow for the freestyle they can come back in and be even more confident. Yeah, so a couple of mistakes there, a little bit of swinging and one actual change mistake. It just got a little bit tense through those one-time changes, but well recovered and nicely into these canter pirouettes now. Keep the jump wrap, that's it. Good change. Keep the jump. Yeah, it just didn't quite have the separation behind. Lovely there, really nice and uphill. Plenty of push from the hind leg. Lovely lightness here as well in the passage. Nice transition. Yeah, better. So this time he's just allowed it to travel a little bit more forward. And actually I think it was probably the right decision to make, because he had a little bit more shoulder freedom this time in the Piaffe. And there we have it for Raphael, Netz and DSP Diodon. Combination best score of 72.13. They're edging very, very close to that today. A really lovely new combination. Plenty of applause from our crowd here in Basel for this final partnership to go in this Grand Prix for the Western European League FEI World Cup. Some really lovely work through this test. Beautiful riding from Raphael. Just a couple of moments where the horse just got a little bit tense and therefore the mistakes crept in, but those extended trots, a real highlight. Really beautiful passage. The Piaffe just needs to be a little bit more consistent, have a little bit more lift, but actually again another combination where the Piaffe got better as the test went on. Just a really beautifully presented test. It is a 71.848% and into third place for Raphael, Netz and DSP Diodon. Scores ranging there, you can see between 69.3 and 72.9. Werth and Wendy Defontaine for Germany out in the lead. She takes the win with 78.674. Charlotta Rogerson for Switzerland, Raphael Netz there crept into third with 71.848. Then Svenja Kamper-Meyer, Bettina Kendlbacher, Dominique Fillion, Morgan Barbancon, Dileia, Eggenberger and Lucia Gallardo making up the top 9. And then moving down, Bertrand, Liegard in 10th, Estelle, Wettstein, Paula, Matute, Guimon, Jemma, Heran, and then unfortunately we saw so that is it for the Grand Prix today. Stay tuned for the prize giving. We'll be bringing that to you very shortly. We'll just be getting ready for that now. But tomorrow we'll be bringing you all of the action here on FEI TV for the freestyle. That will be at 1:45 local time, 12:45 if you're watching from the UK. So please make sure you tune in for 13 coming forward for the freestyle tomorrow. Really lovely performances from our riders today. And for the prize giving. But here's our highlights from today's Grand Prix. Highlights there from our winner Isabell Werth and Wendy Defontaine. Wonderful to see so many harmonious combinations today. I think for me the standout performance was Charlotta Rogerson and Dileia. Such a wonderful performance from that lovely combination that finished second today with their personal best of 72.63%. So much to like, a nice fluid, and to score a personal best. See our team working really hard now to prepare for the prize giving, so please do stay tuned and we'll be bringing you all of the action from that, where our top 8 will be coming forward for the prize giving.
Und nun, meine Damen und Herren, die platzierten FEI
welcome back to
World Cup
the
Dressage,
prize
präsentiert
here for
vom
leg
Grand Hotel
6
Les
in
Trois Rois
Basel.
Basel. Wir beginnen mit dem 8. Platz.
So we work backwards from